Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and thank you all for joining me in another week of learning together and understanding the gut-brain connection. And in today's session, we will be exploring a somewhat mysterious and incredibly important topic of: could your gut be the root cause of fatigue and exhaustion? Could all this be in your gut? So many times doctor will say to a patient, it's all in your head, as if there's nothing to do about it. But we'll touch on that a little bit today as well. You'll be discovering the 5 ways that can lead to gut imbalances, which may be the cause of crushing fatigue. So just before we kick off, if you're new here and you didn't catch my exciting announcement last week, I'm very excited to announce the launch of my long-awaited Heal Your Gut program. If you're interested about learning more about this program, just type in the chat, interested, and I will be in touch with you to follow up. Here's a quote. "I am exhausted all the time. My blood work just came back, and the lab and the doctor says everything is normal. I rest all the time, but have no energy. Help. Where do I go from here?" I hear this in my clinic all the time. So go ahead and type in the chat if this sounds familiar to you. Just type in the chat, familiar. And while you type in the chat, familiar, I also want to welcome all those newcomers to Mind Body Monday. Go ahead, type in the chat if this is familiar to you. Or also type in the chat, do you suffer from exhaustion or fatigue? So for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Avraham Gundle. I'm the director and founder for the Center of Integrated Medicine. I'm trained as an osteopath and I practice functional and integrated medicine. And over the last 30 years in private practice, I've been really privileged to have helped many patients recover from a vast array of illnesses, being it chronic fatigue, gut issues, eczema, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, etc. And the focus of Mind Body Monday is really a focus on the mind and the body as it relates to the gut and the brain. And if you've been following me, I hope this is very clear to you by now. And I'm going to be sharing with you another topic that we haven't touched on yet. And that is, could your gut be the root of fatigue and exhaustion? So if I look in the chat, and yes, people are quite familiar. Yes, familiar with this question, yes. And yeah, suppose gut issues can also be the source of poor sleep. Yes, you are ahead of the game. If you just hang on for a couple of minutes, you'll understand exactly why this is so. And I'm going to touch on that. Very good, Aviva. Okay. So what most people don't know, and sadly, including a lot of doctors, is that digestive problems can wreak havoc with our entire body, leading to fatigue, exhaustion, allergies, autoimmune conditions, inflammation, arthritis, mood disorders, cancer, dementia, and many, many more conditions. So having a healthy gut means more than not being annoyed by a little bit of bloating or heartburn or whatever it may be, or pain. Having a healthy gut is central to our entire health. It is connected to everything that happens inside our body and our brain. Now, in a perfect world, our gut has a hard time in keeping things balanced. And it's so important to understand that many conditions and diseases that seem totally unrelated to the gut, like fatigue and exhaustion, can actually be caused by gut problems. You see, compromised gut health and changes within the microbiome can drain energy and cause fatigue, exhaustion, and lethargy and low mood. Also, sleep issues, as you'll see shortly, and also anxiety and depression. Hang in and I'll explain the pathway shortly. Research points to measurable differences in the microbial makeup of peppy, energetic, upbeat people and their always lethargic, exhausted counterparts. There's actually changes in the microbiome between these two populations. Isn't that interesting? Gut issues affect overall energy in several ways. And this is the key point here. Over 95% of serotonin and 50% of dopamine, these are very important neurotransmitters that regulate sleep and mood and motivation, are produced in the gut. Let me say that again. The majority of hormones, neurotransmitters that affect our brain function are secreted and produced by gut bacteria. So now you can understand why a disruption in gut bacteria can affect one's mood and one's sleep and one's energy levels. In fact, after a Mind Body Monday session, one of the clinicians practicing in my clinic who attended the session, when I was talking about how to positively influence your gut microbiome to stimulate more serotonin and dopamine, reported to me a week or so after hearing the Mind Body Monday session that one of her clients who was suffering from anxiety and depression, who had pretty much maxed out on her medication, when this therapist recommended making these nutritional changes to her gut, literally within 2 or 3 days, she was back to her balanced self. Is this a mystery? I don't think so. This is not psychology. This is biochemistry. So 95% of serotonin and over 50% of dopamine are made in the gut. So microbiome disruptions and gut issues can directly affect not getting enough deep, restorative sleep. Plus, it can domino onto the next day and affect energy levels and one's mood and enthusiasm. So research in PubMed found that gut bacteria also directly affects the nervous system, influencing 3 things: mental stamina, focus, and concentration. Just in addition, it wasn't the topic I was going to focus on, but I'm seeing so many young adults and kids with ADD and ADHD. And one of the things I do for them on their program is sort out their gut because of the research in PubMed that I've just shared with you. It's so important to regulate the gut in order to, if they're on medication, to help the medication work better. And if they're not on medication, then we'll just help their brain work better as well. That's in conjunction with a holistic integrated approach. Bottom line is focusing on gut health can and most definitely will increase energy levels and overcome fatigue. So, folks, today is Mind Body Monday. So let's all together overcome fatigue and increase our energy, focus, and concentration right now. So, sitting up straight, relaxing your shoulders, and taking a nice deep cleansing breath in through your nose, and a long out breath through pursed lips. Squeezing all the air out of your belly. And once more, a nice deep breath in through your nose. This is the audience participation section. Yes, even if you're watching the replay. Let's do that. Breathing in through the nose. Relaxing your shoulders, holding it for a moment, and breathing out through pursed lips. Squeezing all the air out of your belly. And breathe normally. I'm just curious, did any of you notice a shift in anything? Maybe you were dizzy, maybe you were more focused, maybe something else. Go ahead, type in the chat. Just by taking 2 slow, deep breaths in, what did you notice? Perhaps some tension in your body, maybe more mindfulness to your breath. Go ahead, type in the chat. What did you notice? The purpose of doing slow, deep breathing, it oxygenates the brain, it energizes the brain, and balances the gut through the vagus nerve, which is one of the 12 cranial brain nerves that influences the entire gastrointestinal system and gets it to regulate. So some people have written in the chat, dizziness, yes. This is because of the gaseous exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide in the brain. It's okay, it's healthy, it's a good thing as long as you staying focused and not doing this when a person's driving. Someone's written in more relaxed, more focused and calm, thank you. More focused, excellent. And Mikhail has written in, went back to normal breathing, my breath for inhaling was deeper. Excellent observation. Very, very good. So this took 3 seconds. I have my patients doing this breath technique for maybe 3 minutes and building up to 5 minutes and even 10 minutes. And as a good practice, part of a life health hack is before going to sleep, breathe like, take 3 slow, deep breaths in, hold it for a moment, and breathe it out. Do that 3 times. This will energize and calm your mind and body, but also assist your brain to go into deeper restorative sleep because it's more relaxed and oxygenated. And I do this also in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I start my day with these 3 slow, deep breaths in. This just gets me focused and ready for my day. Someone else has also written in the chat where, more focused. Amazing. Thank you. So let me share with you 5 ways that can lead the gut to imbalances and may be the cause of fatigue. And most importantly, how to avoid it. So, staying alert and focused and conscious of your breath, as this is Mind Body Monday, let's jump into these 5 different ways that can cause gut imbalances and how to avoid making this mistake. So, the first one is really relating to processed meats in particular. Research has shown that eating 3 to 5 times weekly processed meat like salami or sausages or hot dogs or hamburgers or cold cuts and also processed soy foods and these junk quick foods increase the growth of bad bacteria in the gut and reduce friendly bacteria. So it causes an imbalance by eating these processed meaty-based foods. Research also showed that by eating largely a plant-based diet has been shown to do quite the opposite, to reduce the bad guys and to raise the good bacteria. And now there was some very interesting research in Frontiers in Nutrition, compared the differences in bacteria composition between people who followed a vegan vegetarian diet to those who follow an omnivorous diet. And just a caveat, I'm not supporting one diet or the other. I have my personal preference. I very much support a plant-based diet, but it's not necessarily exclusive. And each person needs to discover that eating plan that works best for them. The conclusion of this research was that a plant-based diet was super beneficial for promoting healthy gut bacteria, and most importantly, promoting a diversity in the microbial system. So it's not only about how much good bacteria there is, but also the diversity of strains is very important, as all these microorganisms dialogue, talk to one another, and create a synergy, something even better than each individual strain can do on their own. So it's a good idea to eat lots of leafy green veg, beans, nuts, fruits, whole grains, because these foods have shown to boost numbers of healthy bacteria and be gut protective. Let's look now at the second factor that can disrupt gut bacteria and cause fatigue and exhaustion. I'm calling this one the caffeine trap. Now, it's not all black and white. While caffeine can be a great pick-me-up, and research in Science Direct actually shows that coffee can promote gut bacterial diversity, which is a very good thing. And it's not all bad. There's lots of research supporting coffee drinking. And I don't think it's funded by the Coffee Drinking Association, if there is such a thing. However, this is important. Everybody has their own caffeine tipping point. So what maybe 1 or 2 cups is okay for one person, the second cup may, or even the first cup, may negatively affect the second person. And this is based on new research around a specific genetic variant that influences how your body handles caffeine. And this can be tested for. In fact, I've had mine tested, and I do have this variant, and I still do enjoy my 1 cup of coffee in the morning because of all the health benefits, but I do not drink any coffee after 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon because of the way my body handles caffeine. So variants may affect how quickly your body breaks down and clears away caffeine. So it's a useful thing to know, either to test for, or most importantly, listen to your body. So wherever your tipping point may be, caffeine can impair digestion, decrease nutrient absorption and water availability through the intestines, and disrupt the internal ecosystem. And this is based on biochemical individuality. So what may be good for one person with a caffeine drink may not necessarily be so good for someone else. The key thing is to pay attention to how you feel and honor your body's signals. Just building on the caffeine theme for a moment, this is because other researchers pointed to carbonated sodas and store-bought, that's carbonated or non-carbonated, but most important thing here is caffeinated sodas and store-bought iced coffees. The reason I say store-bought, because if you make your own at home, you can be in control of how much sweetener and what sweetener you put in. But if you buy it from a store, you are at the mercy of the marketeers. And these caffeine sugar combinations is a harsh combination that will together compound the effects of the poor effects on the gut bacteria and on the gut lining, because the caffeine sugar combination affects unfriendly bacteria in a positive way, meaning unfriendly bacteria grow more prolifically in the presence of caffeine and sugar. And this research also shows that diet sodas with artificial sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose also affect the composition of the microbiome, damage the intestines, and as a result, opens the gateway to fatigue and exhaustion through the disruption of the microbiome. I want to just add in, and I'm not banging coffee here. I want to just present a more whole picture. I want to share an additional non-gut related implication for coffee lovers to bear in mind. That every time a person drinks coffee, specifically with caffeine, this stimulates the body to produce a stress hormone called cortisol. And this cortisol is stimulated by the adrenal glands. And over time, with this stimulation, plus stress, plus poor sleep, there's again this tipping point, and it can cause adrenal fatigue and exhaustion. So that coffee could be a quick fix, but then it could be a bit of a letdown as well as a result of overtaxing the adrenal glands through too much cortisol secretion and adrenaline. So let's get a caffeine-free energy boost once again. This is Mind Body Monday, and it's all about training our nervous system and training our brain to how it feels to breathe nice and deep. So let's get our non-caffeine fix once again. Sitting up in your chairs. Once again, this is the audience participation section, even if you're watching the replay. So once again, keeping your shoulders down and relaxed, take a nice deep cleansing breath in through your nose and hold it at the top for the count of 2. And then slowly release through pursed lips, a longer out breath, squeezing all the air out of your belly. And once again, a quick deep breath in through your nose, relaxing your shoulders at the top, holding it for the count of 2, and slowly releasing it through pursed lips. And squeezing all the air out of your belly. Breathing normally. Very good. Excellent. And if you notice anything different this time, type that in the chat. Be curious what else you notice. Super. Okay, let's go on to the third factor that can disrupt the gut lining, the gut microbiome, and cause exhaustion and fatigue. And I'm going to share with you some fascinating research on this topic in just a minute. So this is called restful, restorative, deep sleep. And not getting our consistent 7 to 8 hours of deep, restorative, restful sleep has been shown in sleep studies to increase the number of bad bacteria. And this is some fascinating research that's hot off the press. Did you know that your gut microbiome has its own circadian rhythm? Yes, it does. This means that the bugs in our gut are constantly cycling between different colonies throughout the day and 24-hour cycle. When we are sleeping, certain populations increase, and when we are awake, other populations increase. And sleeping in the wrong time or not getting enough sleep will disrupt the natural circadian rhythm, the 24-hour pattern of these gut microbiomes, or these gut microbes in our microbiome. And this compromise will lead to the disruption, again, through the various pathways, the vagus nerve, or through secretion, the improper secretion of serotonin and dopamine, and have all this domino effect. So getting the right amount of sleep is more than just like, getting your hours and feeling great. Is deep neurological and biological chemical processes going on in the gut. And in one of my Mind Body Mondays and other programs, in fact, I've discussed it in my monthly Inner Circle. We take a much deeper dive in these topics, how it impacts the brain's ability to detox and refresh. But that's not our topic for tonight. So The good news is that maintaining a consistent sleep pattern and getting in those hours will cause a correction in this disruption. So I advise my patients to go onto a sleep diet and just for a week to 10 days, catch up and pay back that sleep deficit, which can be done. So either to get new sleep routines. Personally, I have an alarm clock to wake up in the morning, and I have an alarm clock to go to sleep at night so I don't get distracted and remain focused on getting the sleep I need. Also, I wear a sleep tracker on my finger. It's a ring that actually tracks not only the hours of sleep, but it also tracks the quality of my sleep through the deep sleep, the REM cycles, my heart rate variability, my pulse, and a whole lot of other parameters that help me to make sure that my body is getting the deep restorative sleep it needs. Okay, once again, a nice deep breath in, breathing out, and continue to breathe normally as we go on to the fourth factor that impacts the gut microbiome and can affect our energy levels. And this I call, what's your go-to? So packaged, store-bought, processed fast food that are high in processed fats, preservatives, sugars, and high in sodium and low in fiber, all that whole combination of packaged fast food foods have been shown to disrupt the microbiome, the gut bacteria, and absolutely directly cause exhaustion and fatigue, aside from possible disruptions in how we feel in our gut with the heartburn and gas and all sorts of things like that. It will affect our energy levels as well, not only because it's a poor quality food, but through the mechanisms that I've discussed. In fact, studies show that people who ate more processed foods like pizza or French fries or mayonnaise because of the lousy oils in there, or sodas and soft drinks, had a greater number of bad bacteria colonies, which actually also disrupted the mucosal barrier in the gut, which is the gut lining. And this affects what's called tight junctions and how the gut processes and digests food and causes IBS and a lot of other issues as well. So eating real food, unprocessed food, is the way to go, because this way you'll get the energy that your body needs and deserves. So all of this, and I really want to make this clear, all of this can be easily reversed. All of this gut imbalance, the body is a remarkable healing creation. And if we just give it the right set of circumstances, the right environment, it will heal. I always tell my patients that most people, when they come into this world, they come in with a beautiful garden with sunflowers and roses and fragrant herbs as in their microbiome and their blood, so to speak. But as people bumble through life, they don't pay attention to their garden. And it's as if they went off on vacation or lived in another city or town, and that garden became overgrown with weeds and thorns and thistles and rodents and stuff like that. But guess what? One call to the gardener, or you yourself, tending to that gardener, uprooting all that stuff, tilling the soil, water, sunshine, fertilizer, and within a couple of weeks, you got those flowers back again. This is exactly the same in the body. And it only starts with one small step. It's not about revamping your whole lifestyle or getting it perfect every time. It's really the power of making small changes. In fact, a patient recently came to me with total fatigue, exhaustion, anxiety, and depression on lots of medications for gut issues, for blood pressure issues, and couldn't make any of the changes that I was discussing with him. So he agreed that he could make one change a week and keep that for a month. And that was just to choose one healthier item for breakfast. That's it. The rest of the day, back to his Coke and his coffee and everything else he was doing. But the trajectory over time, by making one change a week, over a month, that's 4 changes. And over a year, that's over 12 changes. And this has a domino compounding effect of positivity, of feeling empowered about making changes, about celebrating small wins, celebrating success, which, by the way, also stimulates dopamine and serotonin production, also oxytocin, a very important brain neurotransmitter, when you celebrate your wins and your successes. So please bear in mind that small changes wins the game. And if you don't manage today, there's always a tomorrow. Press reboot, restart, refresh, and begin again tomorrow or now. Let's go to number 5. I'm going to share some fun and interesting research, and that relates to our environment and kids, or the kid within each one of us adults. Studies have found that playing in the dirt, despite its connotation of being dirty and unclean, is actually very good for a child's health. How many times have I been, or we've been to the park and seen kids stomping in the mud and digging in the mud, and parents will yank them away and take out a sanitizer and clean their hands? Research from Finland found that just 90 minutes of playing in the elements resulted in a massive increase in anti-inflammatory immune system proteins over the pro-inflammatory proteins, as shown on skin swabs and blood tests. What this means in English is that the anti-inflammatory proteins in the blood and on the skin, which is a very good thing, these are protective for the immune system, were higher in those kids that played for 90 minutes outside in the elements, in the sand, in the dirt, etc., than kids who didn't. And on the other hand, antibacterial detergents, cleaners, and soaps, etc., actually damage friendly organisms. And new research shows that household detergents can disturb intestinal health. And this can ultimately cause a deflation in one's energy. Also, it was shown that these chemical detergents and agents, specifically with synthetic fragrances found in cleaning products, also impair gut function. So what do you do about it? Well, I'll tell my patients to steer clear of antibacterial sprays, soaps, washes, and wipes, and use plant-based alternatives, scented only, if you want scent, with pure essential oils. Just remember that plants from the beginning of time have been protecting themselves from viruses, from bacteria, from fungi, from rodents, with their own phytochemicals, their own internal pharmacology. So using essential oils or using their natural properties in natural detergents, we can benefit from those elements as well without the harmful side effects. Let's all take a third nice Mind Body Monday deep cleansing breath in and breathing out again. Wonderful. I'm so grateful that you've all shown up here to Mind Body Monday, because if it wasn't for you, it would be pretty boring on a Monday night for me. And if you missed the earlier announcement at the beginning of today's Mind Body Monday, I'm very excited to announce the upcoming launch of my long-awaited Heal Your Gut program. And if you're interested to learn more, just type interested and I'll be in touch with you to give you more info. So thanks again for joining me on Mind Body Monday, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. And just remember, Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. Just take one small step in the direction to enhance your health and well-being in mind, body, and soul. Look forward to seeing you next week.